Science, Class 4th, Contents, Forward, a note for the teachers and parents. 1. Going to school, 2. Ear to ear, 3. A day with Nadu, 4. The story of Amrita, 5. Anita and the honeybees, 6. Oman's journey, 7. From the window, 8. Reaching grandmother's house, 9. Changing families, 10. Hood to two, hood to two, 11. The valley of flowers, 12. Changing times, 13. A river's tale, 14. Baswa's farm, 15. From market to home, 16. A busy month, 17. Nandita in Mumbai, 18. Too much water, too little water, 19. Abdul in the garden, 20. Eating together, 21. Food and fun, 22. The world is in my home, 23. Pochampalli, 24. Home and abroad, 25. Spicy riddles, 26. Defense officer Vaida, 27. Chuskita goes to school. Class 5, Contents, Forward, a note for the teachers and parents. 1. Super senses. 2. A snake charmer's story. 3. From tasting to digesting. 4. Mangoes round the ear. 5. Seeds and seeds. 6. Every drop counts. 7. Experiments with water. 8. A treat for mosquitoes. 9. Up you go. 10. Walls tell stories. 11. Sunita in space. 12. What if it finishes? 13. A shelter so high. 14. When the earth shook. 15. Blow hot, blow cold. 16. Who will keep this work? Who will do this work? 17. Cross across the wall. 18. No place for us. 19. A seed tells a farmer stories. 20. Whose forest? 21. Like father, like daughter. 22. On the move again. Class 6, Contents, Forward, rationalization of content in the textbooks. A note for students. Chapter 1, Compounds of Food. Chapter 2, Shortage material into groups. Sorting materials into groups. Chapter 3, Separation of substances. Chapter 4, Getting to know plants. Chapter 5, Body movements. Chapter 6, The living organism, characteristics and habitats. Chapter 7, Motion and measurements. Motion and measurements of distance. Chapter 8, Light, shadows and reflection. Chapter 9, Electricity and circuits. Chapter 10, Fun with magnets. Chapter 11, Air around us. Class 7th, Contents, Forward, rationalization of content in the textbook. Preference. Chapter 1, Nutrition in plants. Chapter 2, Nutrition in animals. Chapter 3, Heat. Chapter 4, bases and salts. Chapter 5, Physical and chemical changes. Chapter 6, Respiration in organisms. Chapter 7, Transportation in animals and plants. Chapter 8, Reproduction in plants. Chapter 9, Motion and time. Chapter 10, Electric current and its effects. Chapter 11, Light. Chapter 12, Forest our lifeline. Chapter 13, Wastewater story. Class 8, Forward, rationalization of contents in the textbook. Preference. Chapter 1, Crop production and management. Chapter 2, Microorganism, friend and foe. Chapter 3, Coal and petroleum. Chapter 4, Combustion and flame. Chapter 5, Conservation of plants and animals. Chapter 6, Reproduction in animals. Chapter 7, Reaching the age of adolescence. Chapter 8, Force and pressure. Chapter 9, Friction. Chapter 10, Sound. Chapter 11, Chemical effects of electric current. Chapter 12, Some natural phenomena. Chapter 13, Light. Class 9, Contents, Forward, rationalization of content in the textbook. Chapter 1, matter in our surroundings. 2 is matter around us. 3, atoms and molecules. 4, structure of atoms. 5, the fundamental unit of life. 6, tissues. 7, motion. 8, force and laws of motion. 9, gravitation. 10, work and energy. 11, sound. 12, improvement in food resources. Answers. Class 10. Contents. Forward. Rationalization of content in the textbook. Preference. Chapter 1. Chemical reaction and equation. Chapter 2. Acid, base and salts. Chapter 3. Metals and non-metals. Chapter 4. Carbon and its compound. Chapter 5. Life processes. Chapter 6. Control and coordination. Chapter 7. How do organisms reproduce? Chapter 8. Heredity. Chapter 9. Light reflection and refraction. Chapter 10. The human eye and the colorful world. Chapter 11. Electricity. Chapter 12. Magnetic effects of electric current. Chapter 13 are environment. Class 11. Biology. Contents. Forward. Rationalization of content in the textbook. A note for the teachers and students. Unit 1. Diversity in the living world. Chapter 1. The living world. Chapter 2. The biological classification. Chapter 3. Plant kingdom. Chapter 4. Animal kingdom. Unit 2. Structural organism in plants and animals. Chapter 5. Morphology and flowering plants. Chapter 6. Anatomy and flowering plants. Chapter 7. Structural organization in animals. Unit 3. Cell structure and functions. Chapter 8. Cell, the unit of life. Chapter 9. Biomolecules. Chapter 10. Cell cycle and cell division. Unit 4. Plant physiology. Chapter 11. Photosynthesis in higher plants. Chapter 12. Respiration in plants. Chapter 13. Plant growth and development. Unit 5. Human physiology. Chapter 14. Breathing and exchange of gases. Chapter 15. Body fluids and circulation. Chapter 16. Excretory products and their elimination. Chapter 7. Locomotion and movement. Chapter 18. Neutral control and coordination. Chapter 19. Chemical coordination and integration. Class 11. Chemistry. Part 1. Contents. Forward. Rationalization of content in the textbooks. Some basic concepts of chemistry. Unit 1. Some basic concepts of chemistry. 1.1 Importance of chemistry. 1.2 Nature of matter. 1.3 Properties of matter and their measurement. 1.4 Uncertainty in measurement. 1.5 Laws of chemical combination. 1.6 Dalton's atomic theory. 1.7 Atomic and molecular masses. 1.8 Mole concept and molar masses. 1.9 Percentage composition. 1.10 stoichiometry and stoichiometric calculations. Unit 2. Structure of atom. 2.1 Discovery of subatomic particles. 2.2 Atomic models. 2.3 Development leading to the Bohr's model of atom. 2.4 Bohr's model of hydrogen atom. 2.5 Forward quantum mechanical model of the atom. 2.6 and 2.6 Quantum mechanical model of atom. Unit 3. Classification of atoms and periodicity in properties. 3.1 Why do we need to classify elements? 3.2 Genesis of periodic classification. 3.3 Modern periodic law and the present form of the periodic table. 3.4 Nomenclature of elements with atomic number greater than 100. 3.5 Electric configuration of elements and the periodic table. 3.6 Electric configuration and types of elements. S, P, D, F blocks. 3.7 Periodic trends in properties of element. Unit 4 Chemical bonding and molecular structure. 4.1 Cell Lewis approach to chemical bonding. 4.2 Ionic or electrovalent bond. 4.3 Bond parameters. 4.4 The valence cell electron pair repletion VSEPR theory. 4.5 Valence bond theory. 4.6 Hybridization. 4.7 Molecular orbital theory. 4.8 Bonding in some homonuclear diatomic molecules. 4.9 Hydrogen bonding. Thermodynamics. 5.1 Thermodynamic term. 5.2 Applications. 5.3 Measurement of triangle U and triangle H. Calorimetry. For 5.4 Enthalpy change triangle RH of a reaction enthalpy. 5.5 Enthalpy the different types of reaction. 5.6 Spontaneity. 5.7 Gibbs energy changes the equilibrium. Unit 6 Equilibrium. 6.1 Equilibrium in physical process. 6.2 Equilibrium in chemical processes. Dynamic equilibrium. 6.3 Law of chemical equilibrium and equilibrium constant. 6.4 Homogeneous equilibrium. 6.7 heterogeneous equilibria. 6.6 Application of equilibrium constants. 6.7 Relationship between equilibrium constant K, reaction quotient Q and Gibbs energy G. 6.8 Factors affecting equilibria. 6.9 Ionic equilibrium in solution. 6.10 Acids, base and salts. 6.11 Ionization of acids and bases. 6.12 Sulfur solutions. 6.13 Solubility equilibria of springly soluble salts. Appendices. Answer to some selected problems. Class 11 Chemistry Part 2. Forward rationalization of content in the textbook. Unit 1 Redox reaction. 7.1 Classical idea of redox reaction. Redox reaction, oxidation and reduction reactions. 7.2 Redox reaction in terms of electron transfer units. 7.3 Oxidation number. 7.4 Redox reaction and electrode processes. Unit 8 Organic chemistry of some basic principle and techniques. 8.1 General introduction. 8.2 Trivalence of carbon, shapes of organic compounds. 8.3 Structural representation of organic compounds. 8.4 Classification of organic compounds. 8.5 Nomenclature of organic compounds. 8.6 Isomerism. 8.7 Fundamental concepts of organic reaction mechanism. 8.8 Methods of purification of organic compounds. 8.9 Equalitative analysis of organic compounds. 8.10 Quantitative analysis. Unit 9 Hydrocarbons. 9.1 Classification. 9.2 Alkanes. 9.3 Alkanes. 9.4 Alkenes. 9.5 Aromatic hydrocarbon. 9.6 Carcinogenicity and toxicity. Answers. Contents. Chemistry Part 1. Unit 1 Some basic concepts of chemistry. Unit 2 Structure of atom. Unit 3 Classification of element and periodicity in properties. Unit 4 Chemical bonding and molecular structure. Unit 5 Thermodynamics. Unit 6 Equilibrium. Appendices. Some answers to some selected questions. Class 11 Psychology. Contents. Forward rationalization of content in the textbooks. Reference. Note for the teacher. Note for the students. Chapter 1 Psychology. 2 Methods of inquiring in psychology. 3 Human development. 4 for sensory attention and perpetual processes. 5 learning, 6 human memory, 7 thinking, 8 motivation and emotion. Glossary suggested readings. Class 11 Physics Part 1 Contents Forward Rationalization of content in the textbooks. Preface A note for the teacher. Chapter 1 Units and Measurements. 1.1 Introduction. 1.2 International System of Unit. 1.3 Significant Figures. 1.4 Dimensions of physical quantities. 1.5 Dimensional formulae and dimensional equation. 1.6 Dimensional analysis and its application. Chapter 2 Motion in a straight line. 2.1 Introduction. 2.2 Instantaneous velocity and speed. 2.3 Acceleration. 2.4 Kinematic equation for uniformly acceleratory motion. Chapter 3 Motion of in a plane. 3.1 Introduction. 3.2 Scalars and vectors. 3.3 Multiplication of vectors by real numbers. 3.4 Addition and subtraction of vectors, graphical method. 3.5 Resolution of vectors. 3.6 Vector addition analytical method. 3.7 Motion in plane. 3.8 Motion in a plane with constant acceleration. 3.9 Projectile motion. 3.10 Uniform circular motion. Chapter 4 Laws of Motion. 1.1 Introduction. 1.2 Aristotle's Fallacy. 4.2 Astrology Fallacy. 4.3 The Law of Inertia. 4.4 Newton's first law of motion. 4.5 Newton's second law of motion. 4.6 Newton's third law of motion. 4.7 Conservation of momentum. 4.8 Equilibria of particle. 4.9 Common forces and in mechanics. 4.10 Circular motion. 4.11 Solving problems in mechanics. Chapter 5 Work, energy and power. 5.1 Introduction. 5.2 Notion of work and kinetic energy. The work energy theorem. 5.3 Work. 5.4 Kinetic energy. 5.5 Work done by the variable force. 5.6 The work energy theorem of a variable force. 5.7 The concept of potential energy. 5.8 The conservation of mechanical energy. 5.9 The potential energy of a spring. 5.10 Power. 5.11 Collisions. Chapter 6 System of particles and rotational motion. 6.1 Introduction. 6.2 Center of mass. 6.3 Motion of center of mass. 6.4 Linear momentum of a system of particles. 6.5 Vectors product of two vectors. 6.6 Angular velocity and its relation with linear velocity. 6.7 Torque and angular momentum. 6.8 Equilibrium of a rigid body. 6.9 Momentum of inertia. 6.10 Kinematics of rotational motion about the fixed axis. 6.11 Dynamic of rotational motion about the fixed axis. 5.12 Angular momentum in case of rotations about a fixed axis. Chapter 7 Gravitation. 7.1 Introduction. 7.2 Kepler's law. 7.3 Universal law of gravitation. 7.4 The gravitational constant. 7.5 Acceleration due to gravity of the earth. 7.6 Acceleration due to gravity below and above the surface of earth. 7.7 Gravitation potential energy. 7.8 Escape speed. 7.9 Earth satellite. 7.10 Energy of an orbiting satellite. Appendices answers. Class 11 Physics Part 2 Contents Forward Rationalization of content in the textbook. Preference A note for the teacher. Chapter 8 Mechanical properties of solids. 8.1 Introduction. 8.2 Stress and strain. 8.3 Hooke's law. 8.4 Stress strain curve. 8.5 Elastic moduli. 8.6 Application of elastic behavior of materials. Chapter 8 Mechanical properties of fluids. 9.1 Introduction. 9.2 Pressure. 9.3 Streamline flow. 9.4 Bernoulli's Bernoulli's principle. 9.5 viscosity. 9.6 surface tension. Chapter 10 thermal properties of matter. 10.1 introduction. 10.2 temperature and heat. 10.3 measurement of temperature. 10.4 ideal gas equation and absolute temperature. 10.5 thermal expansion. 10.6 specific heat capacity. 10.7 calorimetry. 10.8 change of state. 10.9 heat transfer. 10.10 Newton's law of cooling. Chapter 11 thermodynamics. 11.1 introduction. 11.2 thermal equilibrium. 11.3 zeroth law of thermodynamics. 11.4 heat, internal energy and work. 11.5 first law of thermodynamics. 11.6 specific heat capacity. 11.07 thermodynamics, state variables and equation of state. 11.8 thermodynamic processes. 11.9 second law of thermodynamics. 11.10 reversible and irreversible processes. 11.11 Carnot engine. Chapter 12 kinetic theory. 12.1 introduction. 12.2 molecular nature of matter. 12.3 behavior of gases. 12.4 kinetic theory of a ideal gas. 12.5 law of equipartition of energy. 12.6 specific heat capacity. 12.7 mean free path. Chapter 13 oscillation. 13.1 introduction. 13.2 periodic and oscillatory motions. 13.3 simple harmonic motions. 13.4 simple harmonic motion and uniform circular motion. 13.5 velocity and acceleration in simple harmonic motion. 13.6 force law of simple harmonic motion. 13.7 energy in simple harmonic motion. 13.8 the simple pendulum. Chapter 14 waves. 14.1 introduction. 14.2 transverse and longitudinal waves. 14.3 displacements relation in a progressive wave. 14.4 the speed of traveling of a traveling wave. 14.5 the principle of superposition of waves. 14.6 reflection of waves. 14.7 beats. Answer bibliography index. Class 12 Biology. Contents. Forward. Rationalization of content in the textbook. Preference. Unit 4 Reproduction. Unit 6 Reproduction. Chapter 1 Sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Chapter 2 Human reproduction. Chapter 3 Reproductive health. Unit 7 Genetics and evaluation. Chapter 4 Principles and inheritance and variation. Chapter 5 Molecular basis and inheritance. Chapter 6 Evaluation. Unit 8 Biology in human welfare. Chapter 7 Human health and disease. Chapter 8 Microbes in human welfare. Unit 9 Biotechnology. Chapter 9 Biotechnology Principles and processes. Chapter 10 Biotechnology and its applications. Unit 10 Ecology. Chapter 11 Organisms and populations. Chapter 12 Ecosystem. Chapter 13 Biodiversity and conservation. Class 12 Chemistry Part 1 Forward. Rationalization of content in the textbook. Unit 1 Solution. 1.1 Types of solution. 1.2 Expressing concentration of solutions. 1.3 Solubility. 1.4 Vapor pressure of liquid solutions. 1.5 Ideal and non-ideal solution. 1.6 Colligative properties and determination of molecular mass. 1.7 Abnormal molar masses. Unit 2 Electrochemistry. 2.1 Electrochemical cells. 2.2 Galvanic cells. 2.3 Nernst equation. 2.4 Conduction of electrolytic solutions. 2.5 Electrolytic cells and electrolysis. 2.6 Batteries. 2.7 Fuel cells. 2.8 corrosion. Unit 8 Chemical kinetics. 3.1 Rate of a chemical reaction. 3.2 Factors influencing rate of a reaction. 3.3 Integrated rate equation. 3.4 Temperature dependence of rate of reaction. 3.5 Collision theory of chemical reactions. Unit 4. The D and F block elements. 4.1 Position in a periodic table. 4.2 Electric configuration of a D block elements. 4.3 General properties of a transition of elements D block. 4.4 Some important compounds of transition elements. 4.5 The lanthanoids. 4.6 The actinoids. 4.7 Some applications of D and F block elements. Unit 5. Coordination compounds. 5.1 Werner's theory of coordination compound. 5.2 Definition of some important term pertaining to coordination compounds. 5.3 Nomenclature of coordination compounds. 5.4 Isomerism in coordination compounds. 5.5 Bonding in coordination compounds. 5.6 Bonding in metal componolysis. 5.6 Importance of application of coordination compound. Coordination compounds. Appendices. Answers to some questions in exercises. Unit of Chemistry Part 1. Unit 1 Solution. Unit 2 Electrochemistry. Unit 3 Chemical Kinetics. Unit 4 The D and F block elements. Unit 5 Coordination Compounds. Appendixes. Answer to some exercise of some answers to some questions in exercises. Class 12 Chemistry Part 2. Forward. Rationalization of content in the textbook preference. Unit 6 Haloalkanes and halogens. 6.1 Classification. 6.2 Nomenclature. 6.3 Nature of C10 bond, CX bond. 6.4 Method of preparation. 6.5 Haloalkanes. 6.5 Preparation of halogens. 6.6 Physical properties. 6.7 Chemical reactions. 6.8 Polyhologon compounds. Unit 7 Alcohols, phenols and ethers. 7.1 Classification. 7.2 Nomenclature. 7.3 Structures of fundamental groups. 7.4 Alcohols and phenols. 7.5 Some commercially important alcohols. 7.6 Ethers. Unit 7 Aldehydes, ketones and carboxylic acids. 8.1 Nomenclature and structure of carbonyl group. 8.2 Preparation of aldehydes and ketones. 8.3 Physical properties. 8.4 Chemical reactions. 8.5 Uses of aldehydes and ketones. 8.6 Nomenclature and structure of carboxyl group. 8.7 Methods of preparation of carboxylic acids. 8.8 Physical properties. 8.9 Chemical reactions. 8.10 Uses of carboxylic acids. Unit 8 Amines. 9.1 Structure of amines. 9.2 Classification. 9.3 Nomenclature. 9.4 Preparation of amines. 9.5 Physical properties. 9.6 Chemical reactions. 9.7 Methods of preparation of diazonium salts. 9.8 Physical properties. 9.9 Chemical reactions. 9.10 Importance of diazonium salts in synthesis of aromatic compounds. Unit 10 Biomolecules. 10.1 Carbohydrates. 10.2 Proteins. 10.3 Enzymes. 10.4 Vitamins. 10.5 Nucleic acids. 10.6 Hormones. Answer to some questions in exercises. Class 12 Psychology. Contents. Forward. Rationalization of content in the textbook preference. Chapter 1 Variations in psychological attributes. Chapter 2 Self and personality. 3 Meeting life challenges. 4 Psychological disorders. 5 Therapeutic approaches. 6 Attitude and social cognition. 7 Social influence and group processes. Guidelines for practical in psychology. Glossary. Suggested readings. Unit 12 Physics Part 1. Forward. Rationalization of content in the textbook. Chapter 1. Electric charges and fields. 1.1 Introduction. 1.2 Electric charge. 1.3 Conductors and insulators. 1.4 Basic properties of electric charge. 1.5 Coulomb's law. 1.6 Force between multiple charges. 1.7 Electric field. 1.8 Electric field lines. 1.9 Electric flux. 1.10 Electric dipole. 1.11 Dipole in a uniform external field. 1.12 Continuous charge distribution. 1.13 Gauss's law. 1.14 Applications of Gauss's law. Chapter 2. Electrostatic and capacitance. 2.1 Introduction. 2.2 Electrostatic potential. 2.3 Potential due to a point charge. 2.4 Potential due to an electric dipole. 2.5 Potential due to a system of charges. 2.6 Equipotential surface. 2.7 Potential energy of a system of charges. 2.8 Potential charge in an external field. 2.9 Electrostatics of conductors. 2.10 Dielectrics and polarization. 2.11 Capacitors and capacitance. 2.12 The parallel plate capacitor. 2.13 Effects and dielectric and capacitance. 2.14 Combination of capacitors. 2.15 Energy stored in a capacitor. Chapter 3 Current electricity. Chapter 3 Current electricity. 3.1 Introduction. 3.2 Electric current. 3.3 Electric currents in conductors. 3.4 Ohm's law. To 3.5 Drift of electrons and the origin of resistivity. 3.6 Limitation of Ohm's law. 3.7 Resistivity of various materials. 3.8 Temperature dependence of resistivity. 3.8 Electrical energy power. 3.8 Cells EMF international resistance. 3.5 Cells in series in a parallel. 3.12 Kirchhoff's rule. 3.13 Wheatstone bridges. Chapter 4 Moving charges and magnetism. 4.1 Introduction. 4.2 Magnetic force. 4.3 Motion in a magnetic field. 4.4 Magnetic field due to a current element. Biot-Savart law. 4.5 Magnetic field on the axis of circular current loop. 4.6 Ampere's circuital law. 4.7 The solenoid. 4.8 Force between two parallel currents and ampere. 4.9 Torque and current loop. Magnetic dipole. 4.10 The moving coil galvanometer. Chapter 5 Magnetism and matter. 5.1 Introduction. 5.2 The bar magnet. 5.3 Magnetism and Gauss's law. 5.4 Magnetism and magnetic intensity. 5.5 Magnetic properties of materials. Chapter 6 Electromagnetic induction. 6.1 Introduction. 6.2 Experiments of Faraday and Henry. 6.3 Magnetic flux. 6.4 Faraday's law of induction. 6.5 Planck's law and conservation of energy. 6.6 Motional electromotive force. 6.7 Inductance. 6.8 AC generator. Chapter 7 Alternating current. 7.1 Introduction. 7.2 AC voltage applied to a resistor. 7.3 Representation of AC current and voltage by rotating vectors. Phasors. 7.4 AC voltage applied to an inductor. 7.5 AC voltage applied to an capacitor. 7.6 AC voltage applied to a series LCR circuit. 7.7 Power in AC circuit, the power factors. 7.8 Transformers. Chapter 8 Electromagnetic Waves. 8.1 Introduction. 8.2 Displacement Current. 8.3 Electromagnetic Waves. 8.4 Electromagnetic Separatum. Answers. Contents of Physics Part 1 Class 12. Chapter 1 Electric Charges and Fields. Chapter 2 Electromagnetic Potential and Capacitance. Chapter 3 Electric Current. Chapter 4 Moving Charges and Magnetism. Chapter 5 Magnetism and Matter. Chapter 6 Electromagnetic Induction. Chapter 7 Alternating Current. Chapter 8 Electromagnetic Waves. Answers. Class 12 Physics Part 2 Contents Forward Rationalization of content in the textbook Preference. Chapter 9 Ray Opticals and Optical Instruments. 9.1 Introduction. 9.2 Reflection and Light by Spherical Mirrors. 9.3 Refraction. 9.4 Total Internal Reflection. 9.5 Refraction and Spherical Surface and by Lenses. 9.6 Refraction through a prism. 9.7 Optical instruments. Chapter 10 Chapter 10 Waves Optics. 10.1 Introduction. 10.2 Huygens Principle. 10.3 Refraction and Reflection of Plane Waves using Huygens Principle. 10.4 Coherent and incoherent addition of waves. 10.5 Interference of light waves and Young's experiment. 10.6 Diffraction. 10.7 Polarization. Chapter 11 Dual Nature of Radiation and Matter. 11.1 Introduction. 11.2 Electron Emission. 11.3 Photoelectric Effect. 11.4 Experimental Study and Photoelectric Effect. 11.5 Photoelectric Effect and Wave Theory of Light. 11.6 Einstein's Photoelectric Equation, Energy Quantum and Radiation. 11.7 Particle Nature of Light, the Photon. 11.8 Wave Nature of Matter. Chapter 12 Atoms. 12.1 Introduction. 12.2 Alpha particle steering and Rutherford's nuclear model of atom. 12.3 Atomic spectra. 12.4 Bohr model of a hydrogen atom. 12.5 The line spectre and the hydrogen atom. 12.6 D.E. Broglie's explanation of Bohr's second postulate of quantization. Chapter 13 Nuclear. 13.1 Introduction. 13.2 Atomic masses and composition of nucleus. 13.3 Size of nucleus. 13.4 Mass, energy and nuclear binding energy. 13.5 Nuclear force. 13.6 Radioactivity. 13.7 Nuclear energy. Chapter 14 Semiconductor, electronics, materials, devices and simple circuits. 14.1 Introduction. 14.2 Classification of metal, conductors and semiconductors. 14.3 Intrinsic semiconductor. 14.4 Extrinsic semiconductors. 14.5 p-n junction. 14.6 Semiconductor diode. 7.7 Applications of junction diode as a rectifier. Appendices Answers. Bibliography. Thank you.